In the meantime, we're following other developments, including a cybersecurity measure that is all the controversy on Capitol Hill. A lot of the candidates, both on the left and the right, are divided over how much liberties you take when you start checking out whether someone could be doing something evil or something that could compromise our security. To the senator who is trying to address that right now and put an end to it, or at least try to get people thinking about it, Ron Johnson from the state of Wisconsin. You're working on a cybersecurity bill that delicately balances, Senator, the privacy needs with our security needs. But your critics have already come out the gate saying you're way over compromising our privacy needs. What do you say?
Neil, if people are concerned about people losing their personal information, their privacy, they need to be concerned about cyber hacks, because that's where people are losing their personal information, is in these massive cyber attacks and hacks where people are losing that. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to craft a bill here that does recognize that delicate balance, but is going to allow companies in the private sector to share information between themselves and also with government, just the threat indicators. We'll be removing the personal information, but we need to understand what those threat indicators are, because so many of these attacks occur with known threat indicators. We already know the attacks, and we just have to be able to share that throughout industry and with government.
Senator, because the read I have of this, and obviously it's your legislation, you know better than I do, is that you would compel companies that have information to share
this is
that
voluntary.
information. All right, well, what do you mean voluntary? So I go to Apple or Google, or you want to go to Apple, and they say no, Senator, or no, we're not doing that, then what happens to them?
They don't share the information. So this is a completely 100% voluntary process that will allow companies to share those threats, share attacks that have occurred without threat of liability, with liability protection. So they're not being threatened to be sued out of existence. And that's just kind of a basic minimum standard. This isn't going to solve all our problems, but Neil, such a high percentage of these attacks are with known threats. 75% of attacks occur within 24 hours of an initial attack, 40% within an hour. That's why we have to share this information very rapidly.
Senator, we're learning right now separately that Iran has been invited to join these international talks on Syria. How do you feel about that?
Well, let's face it, I view Iran as, and I think it's been stated, the #1 state sponsor of terror in the world. I'm highly concerned about the leverage Iran has been gaining in the Middle East. We've generally witnessed the strategic realignment within the Middle East. This Iranian deal is going to be terrible for world security. Now that Russia has moved more troops, more military assets into Syria, that's not going to be helpful. Neil, one thing I got to point out, economically, you combine the economic power of Europe with the United States, over $30 trillion. The combined economic power of Iran and Russia, less than $3 trillion, or less than 10% of our economic strength. And look who's pushing who around the Middle East. This is not good for world peace and security.
All right, it is weird timing, to put it mildly. Senator Ron Johnson from the fine state of Wisconsin. Thank you, sir.